Have you ever noticed how life rarely goes exactly according to plan? You can prepare, organize, and do everything right, and still find yourself facing setbacks you never asked for. A mistake, a misunderstanding, an unexpected turn that feels sharp and painful. Most of us don't struggle because things go wrong. We struggle because of how we hold those moments when they do. Today's quote and story explore a powerful truth. The same experience that wounds us can also guide us, depending on how we choose to grasp it. As spoken by James Russell Lowell, mishaps are like knives that either serve us or cut us as we grasp them by the blade or by the handle. At its core, this quote reminds us that mishaps themselves aren't the enemy. It's our reaction, our grip, that determines whether they harm us or help us. Elena had always believed she could control everything. She planned her career carefully. She nurtured her relationships intentionally. Even her daily routines were structured and precise. Planning made her feel safe, like if she thought far enough ahead, she could protect herself from disappointment. But life, as it often does, had other plans. It began with a minor accident, a fender bender that wasn't even her fault. Then came a string of small but deeply unsettling setbacks. A promotion she expected quietly passed her by. A friendship fractured under the weight of unspoken assumptions. A project she had poured her heart into slowly unraveled. Each mishap felt like a sharp edge pressing against her, slicing away at the certainty she'd worked so hard to build. At first, Eleanor reacted the only way she knew how, with panic and control. She replayed every moment in her mind, searching for what she could have done differently. She blamed herself, she imagined worst-case futures, and with every attempt to tighten her grip, the pain only deepened. She began to withdraw, from people, from opportunities, from herself. If careful planning couldn't protect her, she wondered, then what was the point? One rainy evening after a particularly crushing day, Elena sat alone in her small kitchen. On the counter sat a knife she had used earlier to prepare dinner. As she stared at it, her mind, exhausted from self-criticism, finally slowed. And then the thought arrived quietly, almost gently. This knife could hurt me if I grab it by the blade. Or it could serve me if I hold it by the handle. The realization stopped her in place. Mishaps, just like that knife, were tools. They could cut her deeply if she clung to the pain, or they could serve her if she learned how to hold them differently. Slowly, Elena began to practice this shift. She didn't deny her disappointments or pretend they didn't hurt. But instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" she began asking, "What can this teach me?" The promotion she didn't receive led her to pursue a side project, one that eventually became her true calling. The fractured friendship taught her the importance of communication and healthy boundaries. The failed project strengthened her resilience and creativity in ways success never had. Each mishap, once a wound, became a guide, a lesson instead of a loss. Months later, Elena understood something deeply. Life would never be free of accidents or mistakes, but now, she met them with clarity, choosing the handle instead of the blade. And in doing so, she discovered a quiet strength she never knew she had. Elena's story holds a mirror up to something many of us experience but rarely pause to name. We are taught, subtly, constantly, that mistakes are failures, that setbacks mean we've done something wrong, that mishaps are interruptions rather than invitations. So when life surprises us with detours, our first instinct is to tighten our grip. We analyze, we criticize ourselves, we replay moments in our minds, searching for control in a situation that has already passed. And in doing so, we often hurt ourselves more than the mishap ever could. James Russell Lowell's words remind us that mishaps are not cruel by nature. They are neutral. Like a knife, they are powerful, but not malicious. The harm doesn't come from the experience itself. It comes from how we hold it. Holding the blade looks like living in if only. If only I had spoken differently. If only I had acted sooner. If only I had known better. It looks like carrying shame long after the moment has passed. It looks like believing one mistake defines your worth or one failure determines your future. When we grip life this way, every setback cuts into our confidence, our peace, and our willingness to try again. But holding the handle requires something quieter and braver. It asks us to pause instead of panic, to observe instead of attack ourselves, to ask not, "What did this take from me?" but "What is this trying to show me?" This shift doesn't happen overnight. It's a practice, a choice we make again and again, sometimes daily, sometimes moment by moment. When we choose the handle, we begin to see mishaps as teachers rather than punishments. We recognize that growth often arrives disguised as disappointment, that clarity often follows confusion, that resilience is built not in moments of ease, but in moments where we decide not to give up on ourselves. Think about the challenges you've already survived. At the time, they may have felt unbearable. But looking back, you might see how they shaped your boundaries, strengthened your voice, or redirected your path towards something more aligned with who you truly are. Those mishaps didn't ruin you, they refined you. And maybe you're in the middle of something difficult right now. Maybe the lesson isn't clear yet. That's okay. Holding the handle doesn't mean you have all the answers. It simply means you're willing to stay open, to trust that meaning can emerge with time. This space, this channel, exists for moments like that. Moments when life feels heavy, confusing, or sharp. Here we slow down, we reflect. We remind ourselves that growth isn't loud or dramatic. It's often quiet, internal, and deeply personal. You are allowed to learn as you go. You are allowed to make mistakes. You are allowed to change your grip. Mishaps will come. That much is certain. But how they shape you is still your choice. And every time you choose understanding over fear, curiosity over blame, and growth over regret, you're choosing the handle. Today, I invite you to take one small step. Think of one recent mishap in your life and ask yourself, am I holding the blade or the handle? If this story resonated with you, share your experience in the comments. Your reflection might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And if you're looking for more stories, quotes, and quiet moments of insight like this, consider subscribing and staying connected. Growth is ongoing, and you don't have to navigate it alone.